Hi Libra, thanks for tuning in. This is your reading for February 2020. Join me while I shuffle. Please tune in, check in with your higher self and your guides. Bring all of your awareness to this reading. Please don't multitask while you're listening. I want to make sure that you make the most out of your time here with me and you don't miss any of the messages that come through from your guides and your higher self. So perhaps grab some headphones and a cup of tea. And let's get into it. We're going to look at the general energies available at this time for you. Excuse me. Okay, Libra. Ace of Swords is in reverse at the bottom of the deck, and you have the Two of Swords as the crossing card of your reading, as well as the Three of Swords in reverse as the crowning card. There's also 10 of Swords here. So, there's 2 threes as well as the Empress, which is also a number 3, so there's a theme there running through. I didn't mention the 5 of Swords as well, so there's a lot of Swords cards in this spread. Let's start at the heart of the reading. We have the King of Pentacles upright, which I love this energy for you, being that this is the sort of central theme of your spread around this time. That's telling me that you're really putting in a lot of work and effort at this time into how you can grow in your abundance and your sense of self-esteem and self-worth, which is always a very valuable and worthy task to put your effort and energy into. So I like that it's kind of the focus of this reading and it's the central element here that is kind of bringing in all these other aspects. I feel that this is a very healing time for you, that you're putting a lot of energy into cultivating a sense of wellness and wholeness by perhaps addressing some things from the past that you may have been kind of had lingering for a little while with regards to, you know, maybe your attitude about certain situations or people, or maybe some like communications in the past may have not gone so well, and maybe I feel like there's a little bit of an energy here of going back to certain moments with certain people perhaps, or situations, and we may be even looking here at moments from kind of even a kind of deeper past than just recently. I feel that part of this healing that you're going through with this King of Pentacles and coming into your power in a certain way is bringing you to a place where you may want to just kind of, I'm hearing restore. So there could be some like, what I'm feeling here in this moment with that is that for some of you, you may have had a lot of space from certain people in your past that you may have chosen, like you might have deliberately taken space from certain friends or certain groups of individuals, maybe even family members. You may have completely blocked or severed ties with maybe past lovers or people that you were close to at one time. And I have a feeling that with some of the energy in this reading that you might feel like a desire right now to reconnect with some of those people. You might feel like there's things that you want to say to them, or that there's things that you want to like, topics that you might want to broach about things from the past that make you feel like you're ready for some kind of conversations at the moment. What else is here? You have 2 twos in reverse in your reading. This 2 of Swords is in reverse with this King of Pentacles at the heart of the reading, and then the 2 of Pentacles here is in reverse with the Justice card, which is one of the archetypal cards nominated for the Libra energy. So that's interesting, because I'm seeing this card as you as well in your reading. There's also the Empress in reverse in this reading as well, which is also sometimes, you know, allocated to Libra, being that it's a Venusian card and Libra is ruled by Venus. It could be describing you. What I feel with that is that it could be describing you in the past, being that maybe there was a time in the recent past or distant past for a time gone by where you weren't necessarily feeling at your best, you weren't necessarily feeling in your greatest power or in your fullest sense of strength and glory that like you know the difference, right? Like you've experienced times where you have been feeling good and you feel your best and you feel empowered and you feel joyful and things flow for you, and then there's times where you don't. This is kind of describing that you may have you're coming out of a time now where that was maybe the case. You weren't necessarily feeling your best, and that you've done a lot of healing, and then you've made a lot of progress here, and that's maybe why you're ready to kind of reconnect with people from your past that you might want to revisit certain conversations or come back to certain conversations that were sort of left hanging, perhaps. But this Empress reversed here could also be a person, a female person probably in your life that you may be now taking a little space from. There's a lot of things going on in this reading, and one of the things I'm feeling here is that there could be for some of you a breakup energy with someone that you maybe have been. I don't know if it's like a long-term thing or just someone you may have been seeing recently. There could be an energy of breakup, or there could be that you're in the space of kind of, maybe that's why these two twos are in reverse here. Is like you kind of feel maybe that there's certain elements of the dynamic you have with this person that aren't totally working for you, and you may want to have a little bit of space and maybe give yourself a bit of room to feel into what it might be like to kind of either end the relationship or take an extended break from it. I feel that with the Three of Swords in the crowning card position of this reading is like you may be feeling like the person that you've been dealing with might need to, how do I say that? I feel like you've been doing a lot of work on your own healing, and I suspect that you have made a lot of progress in a short amount of time here, given a sort of intent and intense focus on some specific issues that you've been facing in the last little while. That could even be like as long as 2 years. And I feel that this person that's showing up here in your reading as the Empress reversed could be a current partner or someone that you've been around for a little while that needs to also dig deep and do that same kind of really focused, intently focused and intensive self-reflection. And I feel like you might be sensing that they're not actually putting in maybe the same amount of effort that you are into your healing process. And so there's like a little bit of a gap growing between you where you might be developing at a slightly quicker rate than they are. They might be dragging their feet a little bit. They might not be as willing as you are at the moment to really look at some of their shadow stuff and deal with some of the things that may be holding them back a little bit. And so what that feels like to me is that's making you feel a little bit like you kind of want to just pull away a little bit. It might not be like a permanent thing. It could just be like a moment where you kind of need some space because you feel like, you want to enjoy your energy at the moment. That's what I feel like. You're in a good space. You've come to a lot of balance within, and you've worked really hard to kind of let go of a lot of things and find a sense of security within you, a sense of stability and groundedness that you may not have known for quite some time. Like I feel this is an extended cycle here that we're talking about, where you've really come into a specific space within yourself that you've long been striving for. And I feel like you want to enjoy that, and you might not necessarily feel like this other person is in that same vibration as you are, and it might make you feel like you just want to have a little bit of space from them, maybe temporarily, maybe not. Now, what else is here in this reading? There's the 8 and 9 of Wands in the bottom of this reading, along with the Knight of Wands in reverse. What's that about? Yeah, I mean, I would say this Nine of Wands is telling me that, like what I was talking about with you, as far as like you've been in an extended healing process where you've been putting in a lot of effort and energy towards your own growth and your own like letting go of stuff. This Nine of Wands is telling me that you've exhibited a lot of endurance, a lot of courage, a lot of strength, and that maybe it has been a difficult journey, but you have continued to be persistent and patient with yourself and with the process. And with this Knight of Wands here paired with it kind of does sort of reaffirm for me that what I was saying there may have some validity, where the person that you're interacting with might not feel like they've been giving as much effort as you have, and so maybe your passion or your attraction to them might be slightly waning a little bit. And again, it could just be a momentary thing, could be something temporary. You might just feel like you need to have your own space, and maybe it's also good for them to have a little bit of space so they can just be in their own energy and figure out some things on their own. Yeah, this Eight of Wands in reverse at the foundation here of the reading. I feel that that's like that was tying me back to what I described earlier with regard to perhaps this could be a time for some of you where you want to pick up a conversation that went quiet from a little way back with one or several individuals that you might have disconnected from or may have taken space from. There was like a disconnect in the communication, and now you may have a desire to kind of come back and open up some of those dialogues again, maybe because you are in a better space right now and you might feel like you have some things to say. You may even want to like have like not just casual conversations, but you might want to actually really seriously address some of your issues with those people as a way of healing and maybe creating some closure and or a reopening. The bottom of the deck is Ace of Swords reversed with the World upright. Judgment is here as well, and Four of Pentacles reversed. This is interesting. What this feels like to me is that you are really in a time and space at the moment where you're letting go of a lot of stuff. You are coming through like quite a long extended cycle here of a particular aspect of your own personal healing journey. And there is kind of like a cutting away happening. There is a release of energy. There's a kind of like a totality with the world. There's some kind of closure. With that comes a lot of awareness. There's elements here of I mean, look, you've got justice, judgment, and the world in your reading. So that's kind of telling me that there are some karmic cycles that are closing here. There's some elements of your own personal growth that you have really done a good job of maintaining your endurance and your willpower to kind of keep your commitment and dedication to your own healing journey. And so some of the things that you've been working on in the last few years that may have been kind of even very troubling and painful, that you kind of felt like you've been over this and over this and over this again and again. I feel like there's some really big cycles that are closing out here, and there's some freedom and release from some old traumas that you may have been still having stress and anxiety and difficulty as a result of. I feel like there's a huge clearance in this reading and a lot of release with the Ten of Swords, the Four of Pentacles reversed. I feel like this is a lot of energy being leaving. This is leaving energy, letting go. And what comes in place of it is some vitality and health, wellness, new beginnings in certain areas. But it's not necessarily about like the cycle that's closing out is not necessarily about like things in the physical world. It's not about changing your job or moving house. It's more about how you feel internally and the shifts that you've made within you that are helping you feel, as I said earlier, more grounded, more stable, more secure within yourself, less nervousness and anxiety, less of ruminating over things from the past, and more of just like a clearer, enthusiastic, kind of passionate energy in you to kind of take the next thing by the horns with a lot of veracity and pleasure and enjoyment is kind of more highly on your agenda coming into this next cycle. Whereas I feel like in the previous cycle, you may not have even been able to think about those things because you were simply just in so much pain that you were trying to understand and release. And I feel like you've definitely attained a pretty large chunk of having come through a cycle where you were dealing with a lot of those things and you gave it everything and you continue to give it, even when it was really frustrating and maybe things kept coming back around, things that you thought you had already dealt with and put behind you. So your endurance is very much highlighted in this reading. Your willingness to keep going and keep trying and keep putting in effort is very much here. And I feel like the way you feel right now is in itself the reward for all that hard work. So, checking over here, but I feel that's it for the general reading. There is in this reading the Justice card and the Six of Pentacles, which both have these images with the scales in them. So for some of you, this could be like the ending of a long cycle of a very drawn out legal situation that you might have been dealing with. And I feel that it's coming to its closure now in your favor, because both of these cards are upright. And I feel like if you've been waiting on a settlement, if there's been some troubling situation from the past that has been a kind of ongoing legal proceeding, or it may not necessarily be legal in the formal sense of dealing with the law and courts and stuff, but if you've been in a situation where there has been something that you've been dealing with that required you to just kind of be sort of in submission to a process that is maybe bureaucratic in some ways, or just simply something you can't force to happen sooner than you want it to, that I feel like there's a closure in that cycle as well. And again, the result is seemingly turning in your favor. And there's celebration that comes with that, this Three of Cups. Yeah, I feel like there's an end to some kind of battle here as well with this Five of Swords. So that feels like a very big relief. And I'm happy for you. Alright, I feel that's it for this part of the reading. So I'm going to take the Voyager deck now. And we're going to do another higher octave spread. Please send your energy into the deck while I shuffle so I can get really clear messages for you. We're going to take a look at any karmic and spiritual forces that may be at play. We might hopefully also find some blind spots that we can illuminate, and potentially gain some practical insight from your guides and your higher self as how to best work with the energies that you're dealing with to make the most out of the opportunities for learning and growing that you're dealing with at this time. Let's have a look. Page of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. Woman of Swords, Queen of Swords in reverse, crossed by the Sage of Wands, Death in reverse, Lovers in reverse, Eight of Wands is a repeating card, Hierophant, Ten of Wands, Nine of Crystals, Six of Cups reversed, Ten of Pentacles reversed, Two of Swords, Nine of Cups reversed, Page of Pentacles, and Nine of Pentacles. Okay, let's have a look. This spread does feel a little bit different from the previous one, but let's take a look if there's any crossovers here. There's a lot of major arcana cards in this spread. You have the Lovers reversed, you have Death reversed, you have Hierophant. Actually, that's it. And then two tens, three nines. So there's some interesting messages in this spread, and some of them might seem contradictory, so just work with what resonates with you and take what you need here. So what I'm feeling in this spread is that for some of you, you might be dealing with, and this first part of the messages that you'll hear might seem quite opposite and contradictory to what we just talked about in the first spread. But yeah, for some of you, if you're dealing with uncertainty in a relationship, like what this central axis here is saying to me, with Lovers in reverse, Woman of Crystals in reverse at the heart of the reading, and Death in reverse, crossed by Sage of Wands in reverse. This is telling me that you may feel uncertain about how compatible you might actually be to the person that you're in a relationship with. Obviously, this is not for singles, this is for partnered people. You might be feeling a little confused about whether or not you should continue. Like with the Death reverse there as the crowning card, you might already be feeling like you're not sure about your partnership, but you might be feeling a little bit uncertain about making such a drastic decision because perhaps some of the elements of your relationship might seem like you're in a really good situation, you know, whether it's a financial thing or whether it's like, you know, your partner might be very supportive in certain ways, but there's some other aspects that you might feel a little bit are falling short. There's some energy in this reading where you might feel a little bit confused and you might not feel like you're really empowered in your circumstances in a certain sense of certainty about how things really are to actually be making decisions with clarity. That's what I feel there. The Queen of Swords in reverse is at the heart of this reading. Like there's some lack of clarity here, and there's like a feeling of an inability to really see with wisdom and understanding how this dynamic with the person you're involved with is actually really benefiting you in a certain way. And also with that message on this axis, having the Hierophant here, I feel that for some of you, you might actually be feeling like you want to go in. Again, this is a very, maybe a little bit of an extreme message, and it's definitely not going to be for everyone. But with Sage of Wands and Hierophant here, and also that there's 3 9s in this reading, I'll come back to that in a second. But I feel like some of you are actually in a space right now where you may actually want to completely withdraw almost from kind of normal life, and you might want to just take an extended time to go on retreat or be in like an ashram and take some, maybe you want to go to the Amazon and do like a dayata or some kind of like extended, really intensive personal development trip where you travel away from your normal environment, you extract yourself from all the comforts and distractions, and you put yourself in an environment where it's a little bit challenging because you don't have your normal crutches around you, and you might actually have to go into some kind of really deep state of consciousness to come back with wisdom and understanding about what's going on in your life, because right now you might not feel like you can really see what's next for you or what's the right decision to make in the current circumstances that you're in, to make sure that you're actually looking after your well-being and that your needs are being met and you're taking good care of yourself. I feel like for some of you there's a real lack of clarity and uncertainty about many aspects of your life, and there is that is there for some of you. Like there is a need and a desire to want to remove yourself from daily life, from normal routines and stuff, to actually really go deep within yourself and find the answers that you're seeking. That's not for everyone, obviously. Now, what else is in this reading? I'll come to these 3 9s, because there's here Nine of Pentacles with 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords with Page of Pentacles here, and 9 of Cups reversed with 6 of Cups reversed here. So what these 3 9s are telling me, and it's again connecting back to Sage of Wands and Hierophant, there is a strong desire within you to find wholeness and independence on your own terms, and to find greater understanding of your true nature, of yourself, your gifts, your talents, your strengths and weaknesses, in order to be able to understand better how you ought to move forward in life at this point. There's a desire here to learn more about the self so that you can make better decisions moving forward, to make sure that you're focusing and channeling your energy into the right things, and overall, in general, to be able to experience just a better sense of wellness and wholeness and quality of life, because you have, kind of got greater understanding of who you are and what you're here for, and what you have to share. What are your gifts? So again, that makes me feel like some of you want to like maybe withdraw a little bit from the regular daily routines. Some of you maybe want to withdraw from people, whether that's partners or friends. There's a need here for you to kind of like really understand better who you are without necessarily all of the accessories, without your friends, without your partner, without your wife or your husband. I feel in this reading like you would really want to understand who you are as an independent entity, and how to best work with the energy that you are here with. Because some of you might not necessarily know really well who you are, given that you may have been in a long-term relationship, or you may not have. You may only understand yourself in the context of specific social settings or family dynamics. I feel that in this reading. What else is here in this spread is, again, this is a totally different, it's a kind of a tangent part of this reading, but it's here and I want to address it. In the previous reading, we had the Justice and the Six of Pentacles, and I was talking about a potential legal matter here. And I feel that in this reading too, even though the Justice card is not in the spread, nor is the Six of Pentacles, but there is the Death card and the Ten of Pentacles, which with the Hierophant. So again, there's a feeling here like some of you might be dealing with legal matters or bureaucratic things related to perhaps the death of a family member. There could be something to do with here, will or inheritance or some legacy or some kind of, dealing with bureaucratic things related to institutions, something in that area. So that's, I just wanted to mention that because that is here in this reading. What else is here? Let's take the bottom of the deck. Okay, Page of Swords, it's Child of Crystals in this deck. Four of Cups reversed, Star in reverse, and Ace of Crystals. Okay. I do feel it again with this Child of Crystals coming out. I feel that that's connected somehow to this. Some of you may want to like go on retreat or do some kind of like, you know, do ayahuasca or go on a yoga retreat or do a Vipassana meditation or some kind of studying, but may not necessarily be in the kind of typical traditional sort of go to school and learn, but there is like an alternative learning here where there is a desire to want to have a greater understanding of the self. It's not necessarily about learning, you know, whatever, engineering or something. This is specifically about having a greater understanding of the self and the qualities that you are here with, and how to sort of bring those out the best to maximize your potential, basically. Maximize your potential here. With the Star, with the Four of Cups reversed, the Star, and then the Ace of Crystals, I do feel this kind of taps back into the first reading for me, where I feel like there for a lot of you watching this reading, you have been really intensively and intentionally focusing your energy on your own personal healing. And in particular, I feel for some of you, there's been a lot of emotional healing with relation to things from the past that caused you to feel really angry. There's been a lot of work in the area of anger, I feel, for a lot of you. Dealing with your emotional energy that maybe was suppressed or repressed in a certain way that didn't allow you to really feel and express and release anger that you felt. And so you've been kind of like dealing with the after effects of that for maybe a long time. And I feel like there's a lot of resolution coming through at this time. I feel there's been a lot of healing, Star, and that you've come through a difficult time period now here where you're arriving to this place of greater clarity and understanding about lots of things from the past, because you've given so much energy and effort into doing this process. So that feels really good. This is the Ace of Crystals here. You had the Ace of Swords in the previous reading. This is the same card. Both in the same part of the reading. So again, it just feels like you've come through a time where you really were, maybe struggling is too strong of a word, but some of you really having like had been having a challenging time for a long extended time. And you're at the tail end of a long cycle where things that you thought you had already addressed came up again and again. But now I feel like there's a kind of closure. There's a closure to a long extension, an extended cycle of difficulties and health issues, repeating issues coming up, maybe with different people, but something similar about those things. And I feel like there's this clarity coming through here with the Ace of Crystals that feels really enlivening and enlightening, and it's like a clean sweep in a way of a lot of the past things that have been feeling really uncomfortable. But you know, the work's never done. I'm sorry to tell you. But that doesn't mean you have to always struggle. Maybe that's what this is for a lot of you, is that you realize that healing is eternal, and it's not about arriving at a certain point where all of a sudden you're enlightened and you don't have any problems anymore. It's more about just feeling better along the way and enjoying the journey, knowing that there's always work to do, but you can enjoy that. You don't have to postpone your sense of wellness and feeling good until after you've become healed and whole. No. You can enjoy the process. You can feel happiness. You can feel joy, even if you know there's still things that you need to work on and release and heal, right? Okay. I feel that's basically it for your reading. Just checking over here. Make sure I've got everything. Again, for the people in relationships that are coupled, there is this on this central axis here, this feeling of uncertainty about whether or not your committed relationship is actually really compatible, and whether or not you should end your relationship or not. I don't feel like it's clear in this reading for me to say which is real or not, which direction to direct you. But with all those nines in the reading and all the stuff that I said before, I feel like it's important for you to honor that. If you feel like you want to go on retreat, if you feel like you want to take some further studies, if you feel like you want to do some kind of like plant medicine work or breath work or yoga retreat or meditation retreat, vipassana, something like that, whatever it is that you feel, really honor that calling that you have within you and set aside time to actually take that journey. Like go into your calendar and block out time and like really honor your own process and be self-loving enough to actually follow through on what your higher self and your guidance is urging you to do, knowing that it should probably be challenging, but that it'll be really worth the effort to go through that kind of experience, to gain wisdom, to gain clarity, to resolve some things that you're not sure about, to gain answers and receive, teachings from the plant teachers or from a meditation teacher or a yoga teacher. So if that's here for you and that resonates, then really honor that and strive to give yourself the time that you need, that you want to actually follow through on that. So Libra, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some things in there that you can use. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video.